Hey, welcome to another video on multiplying fractions. In the first video in this series we looked at the understanding behind what and how multiplying fractions works using visual representations. In this video we're going to look at a method that helps us to multiply fractions quickly and efficiently when we're just doing calculations. So if we have a look at some of the multiplications of fractions we had in the last video, we've got 1/4 multiplied by 1/2 equals 1/8, 1/4 multiplied by 1/3 equals 1/12, and 1/5 multiplied by 2/3 equals 2/15. And once again, if we have a look at some of these calculations and the numbers involved, we can see a sort of pattern emerging here, or we can see the relationship between the numbers, which helps us with this method, although the method doesn't really tell us what's actually happening here. So if we have a look at this first one, 1/4, 1/2 and 1/8, if we just have a look at the denominators involved, we've got 4, 2 and 8, and perhaps you can spot a method here. And you can see here, and if we go down to the next one, we've got 4, 3 and 12, 5, 3 and 15. What we can do in this method is actually we just multiply across. So we've got 4 multiplied by 2, which 4 times 2 is 8. Let's see if it works with the next one. So 4 multiplied by 3, so 4 times 3 is 12. And the last one, 5 multiplied by 3 is 15, and that works. So to find, using this strategy, what we do is we multiply. It doesn't really matter what order you do this in. You multiply the denominators, which will give you I need to concentrate to spell denominators. There we go. So yeah, that's M. Okay, so we multiply the denominators and that will give us our new one. So we've got 4 times 2 equals 8, 4 times 3 equals 12, and 5 times 3 equals 15. Now that works for the same strategy, also works for the numerators. So we've got 1 times 1 equals 1. Again, 1 times 1 equals 1, and 1 times 2 equals 2. So actually it's fairly straightforward, because when we're multiplying fractions together, we simply multiply the denominators together, which gives us our new denominator, and we multiply the numerators together to give us our new numerator. So fairly straightforward. Out of all the operations that we do with fractions, multiplying two fractions together is actually probably the simplest one we do. So let's have a bit of a practice of that. I've got some fractional calculations here, and I'll put our steps that we just created there. So if you want to have a pause of the video now and have a go at these, and then I'll go through them and we can see if we're both on the same page. Maybe you're right, maybe I'm wrong, and we can always go back. So if you want to pause the video, now's the time, have a go at these. Okay, so if we have a look at the first calculation here, we've got 1/5 multiplied by 1/3. So if we follow our steps here, we're going to multiply the denominators together. So let's find our denominators, 5 and 3. We multiply those together, so 5 times 3. And we multiply our numerators together, 1 times 1, and so then we will multiply those out. So 1 times 1 is 1, which gives us our new numerator. 5 times 3 is 15, which gives us our denominator. So 1/5 multiplied by 1/3 is 1/15. Let's try that with the second one, and this time we have got a numerator that's greater than 1. This doesn't matter, and you can see why that doesn't matter if you have a look at the last video in understanding multiplying fractions. So once again, let's multiply the denominators together, so 3 and 6, and the numerators 1 and 4. So 1 times 4 is 4, 3 times 6 is 18. Okay, and the last one, 3 times 4 to give us our new denominator, and 2 times 3 to give us our new numerator. So 2 times 3 is 6, and 3 times 4 is 12. So 2/3 multiplied by 3/4 is 6/12, which is actually a half. And that's how we can use a quick and efficient strategy or method for multiplying two fractions together. Now we can take this further and have a look at multiplying mixed fractions and mixed numbers, but we'll do that in the next video. Okay, so have a practice of multiplying your fractions. It's the easiest out of all the operations.